Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Thank you. My name is Crystal Williams. I'm the Associate Vice President and Chief Diversity Officer here at Bates College. Welcome to this wondrous event. Before we get going on having Chief Oren Lyons speak with us about sustainability, I want to just acknowledge the many people, departments, and programs at the college that have made this endeavor a possibility. This week's events, and Chief Lyons will be here with us for the entire week, are the result of extensive work and collaborations on behalf of many people. So I'd like to thank Sarah Willett, Nelson Prey in Events Planning, Joe Hall, Ellen Alcorn, Sonia Peak, Danny Danforth, Don Dearborn, Mara Teakin, Carrie Uline, and I would especially like to thank Heather Lindquist, who has been a real gem and has pulled through and made this entire endeavor go when it likely could not have. So please, can we just, for one moment, thank Heather. And I'd also like to acknowledge the departments and programs that have committed to this endeavor. They include the Department of Education, Anthropology, History, Arts and Visual Culture, Environmental Studies, the Harvard Center, the Office for Equity and Diversity, the Office for Intercultural Education, Sustainability, Multi-Faith Chaplaincy, and the Learning Associates Program. Before I introduce John Bear Mitchell, I would also like to welcome those guests who are guests of the college from the area, and especially the people of the tribes of the Wabanaki who are in attendance. Please welcome everyone to Bates. So now I'm actually going to do what I'm supposed to be doing, which is welcoming John Bear Mitchell to introduce Chief Lyons. John Bear is a member of the Penobscot Nation on Indian Island in Maine. He presently serves as the Associate Director of the Wabanaki Center at the University of Maine. And here you'll find out that I am new to Maine, so I'm going to probably mispronounce this. Orno? Hey. Yeah. And University of Maine Native Program Waiver Coordinator. He teaches a course on Wabanaki history and contemporary issues and on multiculturalism and diversity. John Bear has contributed his time and knowledge and energy to Bates College over the years, enhancing our collective understandings of the Maine Indian tribes. He works closely with faculty and other members of the Bates community, which have led to exciting opportunities with our students. We are honored to have him here among us, with us tonight, and I am profoundly grateful that John Bear has facilitated Oren Lyons' visit to Bates. So please help me welcome John Bear Mitchell.
Thank you very much. It's an honor for me to be here as well, and it's also an honor for me to introduce Oren Lyons to the many faculty and staff that have really worked hard in putting things together so he could be here and have a great visit, and that's just the way it is, and it's been happening in a really good way. There's a lot of good energy here, and we're very happy for that. And I'd like also to extend my personal thanks to Heather Lindquist as well, and Sarah Willett, who have been right there through this planning. Chief Oren Lyons of the Onondaga Nation I've known now since I was 24 years old. I don't know what year that was, but I remember when I met him because I was working with a project we called Project Wigwam, which wigwam in Wabanaki language means house. And we were building a traditional village, and I was asked if I would go to a meeting, and I think it was in Lodgegrass, Montana. I'm not sure, and exactly where it was. It's irrelevant, but I just remember there were great big ticks there. And I got to meet Chief Lyons at that point, and being Wabanaki, I wasn't really sure, you know, what the structure of the chiefs and the Iroquois League of Nations, the Haudenosaunee people, how their protocol So I just went around and introduced myself to different people, and I remember meeting him and just thinking he had the best name on the planet. Who would not want to have a last name Lyons? And I figured, my middle name is Bear. We're like, we're animals in our own way, but I found out it's spelled a little bit differently. But Chief Lyons is a faith keeper at the Onondaga Nation. He's been involved in several historical events over the years and has done very, very interesting diplomatic work that I could not possibly even touch on right now. He also was an All-American lacrosse player, and I learned about his whole lacrosse life in 2010 when we had him up, I think in 2009 at the University of Maine system, and we brought him for 2 weeks. They were just getting ready to go to Europe, and Oren was really excited about that, but then they had a passport issue and Britain wouldn't let him in. And it was really eye-opening for me to see the diplomacy that the Iroquois nation has within the United States, the nation of America. So it is with great pleasure that I introduce to you, from Onondaga, Chief Oren Lyons, Faith Keeper.
I just want you to I'll put that here. Thank you. Full house. Whoa. Whoa. Can you hear me? Everybody back there, can you hear me? Up. Okay. I think I'll send John Bear around with a plate, make a collection. Big house. First reparations. Well, first of all, let me thank Bates College for the invitation to come here and spend some time with you, and wish the Bobcats a good day on Saturday. Give them hell. And just have a chat tonight, I think. What was being said in the introduction is kind of a background of a long life. I'm getting on now, so past a lot of years, and over that period of years, had a lot of experience, and starting right out as these guys' age, playing lacrosse and learning the game, and also understanding, the game itself, the roots of it. For the Haudenosaunee, it's not a sport, it's a game. And it has a lot of tangents to it. It's one of the special attention during our midwinter ceremonies. It gets its own position, it gets its own place because it's old, very, very old. And we've been, well, the cosmology starts before, the game starts while there was water on the earth. Before there was a Turtle Island. The game was played on the other side. So it's very old. And supposed to play it, it's a medicine game. In our communities, anyone can call for a game. For whatever spiritual need they may have, they can call. And then we come, we play. And the old style. Put the ball up in the air, put it in the goal. No referees. And you're supposed to play it hard. The spirit of the play is for the person that's asking for the help. So the harder you play, the better it is. So the players are on a different level. They're on a different plane then. They're spiritual players, literally. Your feet are off the ground during that game. And so there's a whole lot of protocol to that, a whole lot of ceremony to that. And then there's the game on Saturday afternoon with referees and so forth. A little bit different, but the essence is the same. Play hard, play fair. No quarter asked, none given. And make men out of you. So I think in that respect, just reflecting a little bit right now, this winter, we've had a lot of snow, as you all know. And there's been previous winters where we've had almost none. So it's like the good old-fashioned winter that a lot of us older folks remember. It was like this all winter, every time. And during those times, we have a winter game called Snow Snake. And all our throwers were happy this year. The games are going on. They're playing this weekend. They'll be playing out in the Seneca country. And that's also an old game. And I don't want to describe it, but it's a slender wooden shaft. It's polished beyond what you call polish. And there's a track in the snow made by a log. And you throw the snake into that track, and the track goes up. And he'll run quarter mile, half mile. And that's, again, it's a technology. It's a technology to put that snake in the track and have it run that far. So far, I haven't found a game in the world that can do that. And the discussion or the history of it is that the longest throw recorded was up in Six Nation in Ontario, Ashwagan, on the river. The track was on the river, it's flat, long, 2 miles, 2-mile throw. So if we put our technology into that direction rather than planes and bombs, nuclear, it'd be a different world. If we played games, our competition would be at that highest spiritual level, and one week it'll be your favor, next will be our favor, but happy faces after. And we have a bat and ball game too, called long ball. And if you go back to that, you'll see where baseball came from. So what I'm saying is that the Haudenosaunee, whom the French call Iroquois, and English called Six Nation, Mohawks, Oneida, Onondaga, Cayuga, Seneca, Tuscarora. That group been here a long time too, based on peace. So games are important. Games are very important. And I thought, I was watching the Olympics and all that talk about the possibility of damage and disaster, I said, you have to let them play. Step back and let them play somewhere. It went off okay, luckily, and I'm pleased with that. You know, you have your winners and losers, but I think the fact that it went off okay was a big winner for everybody. So what I'm saying right now is that in our cosmology, games are fundamentally important. And we put a lot of effort into that lacrosse stick. The technology in that lacrosse stick is really amazing. And it wasn't that long ago when all the sticks were hand carved. Around about 71, 72, I started to see the plastic come in. Boys back home call it Tupperware. Like getting hit with a feather. Nothing like a good check with a hickory. So I think I want to talk a little bit about that, about the philosophy of the Haudenosaunee. We have a very serious title for the lecture tonight: peace, power, righteousness, environmental stewardship. Well, from our perspective. So, all right. But it's important, you know, to have this team. To me, it's important to have this team here, have these young people here, because they're at that point in life where it's really fun. It's really fun to play. And anybody picks up that stick don't like to put it down. And I'm very pleased to see it go. I'm pleased to see it advance around the world now. Federation of International Lacrosse has grown from when we joined the team in 1987. We became the 15. And today, I think they're at 43 countries. Not playing at the quality or the level of the blue division. The blue division is made up of Australia, England, Canada, United States, Japan, and the Iroquois. The games this year, Denver. Games start on the 9th of July, go 10 days, and we'll have a team there. We'll have a good, strong team there. And we'll be in the blue division. We had to battle our way into the blue division because the games in England in 2010, we had an issue with our passports. And UK would not accept our passport, so we didn't go. Some of you might remember that. There was quite a bit on the news. 3,900 stories. CNN was with us day and night, and we were working hard to get there. We were willing to forfeit 3 games and still beat you. But when it got past 3 games, we said, that's it, we can't go. We're not going to go. And we won't accept any passport but our own, the Haudenosaunee passport. So we played, the under-19 men's team played in Finland last year, a bronze medal. We played the year before in the Czech Republic, indoor box lacrosse, and that was silver for us. And in 2015, come to Onondaga, we're hosting the world's indoor box tournament at Syracuse, New York. So there's excitement out there, and I played this game from 1945 to 1975. And had some bad days in the net as a goalkeeper, had some good days. That's the way it goes. And you know, sometimes you're going to lose, and sometimes you're going to win, but most of the time you're going to win. And many times as you lose, all you do is just ramp up for the next game. Just move on to the next one. Take it out on them. So I want to encourage you, Bobcats, Saturday. Play hard. So in this discussion tonight, you know, we're talking about, I should add one more thing, is that our Onondaga Council of Chiefs, most of them are all lacrosse players. They've all played. Most of the men at Onondaga all played lacrosse. So when we sit in council, and I've been sitting there since 1965, a lot of that, what took place in the field goes on there too as well. It's amazing how these things cross over, but the dependence on one another for the team, working, depending on people's abilities. No matter what the issue, it's always the team. No matter what, it's your family or whatever it is that supports. And it's about community, basically. I guess the word to describe the Haudenosaunee the best is community. We have a very large, extended community, extended to 6 separate nations, and way beyond that. So when John Bear was talking about Montana, yeah, we've been there, you know, and just came back from visiting the Passamaquoddy. Big issue on fishing, eelfish, dams on the river. The consistency, I think, of problems today and the lack of comprehension on the part of the American public is the seriousness of global warming is just astonishing to me. And I'm putting now almost all of my efforts into that direction because it is happening so fast and coming so fast now. So good part of tonight, we're going to be talking about that. And alert you to that. And I've got you all in a bunch right here. And we'll talk about that. The seriousness of it, and what we can do and what we should do. A little bit about what happens if you don't do anything. So we're on a crux, you know, and I think to begin with, when you use the words peace and power and righteousness, you're talking about the beginning of our confederacy. We really don't know exactly when it started, but it's zeroing in now, somewhere's around 930 AD, revolving around an eclipse at that time. Places us the beginning somewhere there because that was part of the peacemaker story. So we were much, at that time, much in the same position as the whole world is in right now. There was a lot of fighting. There was a fighting amongst the nations. There was fighting internally and even in the family. And the women and children were in fear of the men. If you look around the world today, you'll find the women and children in fear of the men. Right now. Pretty much the same. And that's the time of the peacemaker. A very spiritual figure came into our cosmology and our history and brought us together in a union called the Haudenosaunee, people of the Longhouse, based on peace, equity, and union, the power of the good minds to be united. That's the foundation of the Haudenosaunee. That's our Constitution. So a Constitution over 1,000 years ago based on peace. That would be wonderful if the constitutions of the world were today based on peace. And people could enjoy a life of shared equity. Just a year or so ago, I think you probably got a little bit of Sandy up here, did you? Sandy, come on up here. Made a big run. At that time, there was 14 feet of water in Wall Street. Just a year